Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV's Primetime News. My name is Iribami Salako. We begin with headlines. President Bola Tinubu meets behind closed doors with head of security and paramilitary operatives under the aegis of the National Security Council. Plus, on the news, police and other security personnel at the National Stadium repel protesting youth who were gathering to commence the day's struggle in Abuja. From the international scene, Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigns and flees the country following weeks of deadly demonstrations. Details of those and more coming your way shortly. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. President Bola Tinubu is meeting with security and paramilitary operatives behind closed doors. These operatives under the aegis of the National Security Council. The meeting is being held at the President's office in the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, General Christopher Musa, is leading the service chiefs and other military and paramilitary heads to the meeting. Also at the meeting are Vice President Kashim Shettima, the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila, the Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetokun, among others. The meeting came after protesters marching against hunger and bad governance refused to listen to his appeal to suspend the action. Recall that President Tinubu on Sunday in a national broadcast pleaded with organizers of the nationwide protest to suspend it, especially as it has gone violent in some states with the attendant loss of lives and destruction of properties. The president, who said that he had heard the grievances of the protesters loud and clear, also warned that he would not sit and watch some people used by opposition politicians to destroy the democracy in the country. Day 5 of the ongoing protest in the Federal Capital Territory, though calm, was yet what was disturbing as officers of the Nigerian police gassed everywhere, preventing protesters from having any breathing space. As at noon on Monday, the capital city was calm within the city center, while the National Stadium, the supposed venue of the protest, was agog with few minutes drama. Correspondent Nabuchi Kinabuchi sent in this report.
The National Stadium was calm at 9 o'clock this morning until members of the protestant group started gathering. Here, the police, in their show of power exercise, had been moving around scaring protesters with their long and armored vehicles. While that lasted, members of the protesting youth arrived at the stadium in a long coaster bus with the intention to mobilize and commence the fifth-day struggle. But that could not happen, as the police, who were battle-ready, shot at them, infecting their buses with tear gas canisters. Protesters in the bus choked as the driver made his way out to a safer place. At this point, they asked everyone to leave the arena or get brutalized. Some of the protesters condemned the action of the police, saying it's against the fundamental human rights of the protesters. They called on the president to reverse, among other things, the removal of oil subsidy and the increment on the electricity tariff. They also asked that the president allow the youth to protest, as he is a product of protest.
Because of what we witnessed again today, this morning, the president's speech is empty. The president has not addressed any of the issues that the protesters are agitating. You and I are buying from same market. Corruption, poverty, food scarcity, insecurity knows no tribe, it knows no personality.
They also call for the removal of critical oil sector personnel who are suspected to be doing racketing with Nigeria's Commonwealth.
Last step, the speech were actually non-Nigerians. If they are really Nigerians, they will know what people are feeling. Even you that do not have, many people are calling you every day, we've not eaten, we've not eaten. And you are saying that you are giving minimum wage of 70,000 as an achievement.
Because they are Libyans. And so what is the benefit of what we are going? At this very auspicious time, the president could afford to go for another presidential jet. The president could afford to even buy, is it boat or whatever they call it, cruise boat, when there is no water in Abuja, and his seat is in Abuja. And so, we have the Prime Minister of Britain, for example, goes with British Airways.
It's still scanty because the protesters were repelled by the police on ground. Behind me, you could see the armored tanks and the police officials that are here trying to guard the place, not allowing the protesters to gather anywhere. We are still monitoring the situation and will be giving details whenever the situation changes. From the National Stadium in Abuja here, I am Nnabuchi Nnabuchi reporting for Galaxy Television News.
Now, still talking about the protest, we have Anki Briggs, a social commentator and convener, Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement, joining us live from Port Harcourt to talk about the protest. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
All right, so to the questions, a lot of Nigerians have expressed concerns regarding the president's nationwide broadcast, stating that he failed to address the core issues, and this is why Day 5 we still have people coming out to protest. Do you agree with their point of view?
If we look at what the protesters, the organizers have said over the past 5 days, then yes, you will agree with them that the key things that they had mentioned have not been addressed. But whether they will be addressed on the immediate, like this now is a little bit difficult to determine. But the president has offered that he wants to dialogue with them. Now, the issue of the dialogue, the question that the protesters, I watch the television like everyone else, and I've listened to the people who have organized this protest against the things that they have listed out, which the president himself has accepted that those things are on ground. The number of things they have listed out, those things are on ground. Now, whether he's able to address them before he has this dialogue that he has offered to have with them, or how the dialogue is going to take place, has not actually been clarified as far as I can see. And so the fact that the protesters are still, therefore, at least the organizers of the protest are still talking about the protest, it's not a surprise. Now, what I am worried about is what I'm seeing today on what you have just shown in Abuja. The violence that has gone on in some parts of the north, even today, people carrying Russian flags and things like that. The issue has gone completely out of hand. If you look at the way that the military have reacted right now, today, is worrisome. It is very, very worrisome. And I think that the only person who can address the issues, who can actually interact with the organizers of the protest, I think is Mr. President. Now, whether Mr. President is actually truly aware of what the ordinary Nigerian is seeing, what I am seeing on my television today happening in Abuja is nothing short of brutalization of the people of Nigeria by the military because they are exercising their basic human rights. Now, having said that, I also cannot run away from the fact that what is now emerging is that there are people who have taken over this protest and are doing incredible damage to the infrastructure and actually dragging the reasons for the protest outside of the protest, so that we're losing sight of what the people who are organizing the protests are actually talking about. This is worrisome. I am really worried about what we're seeing now. People are being brutalized.
Okay, all right. So a lot of Nigerians are taking their inspiration from countries like Kenya and Bangladesh and seeing that this is day 5 of the protest. Do you perhaps see these demonstrations yielding any positive result eventually?
You see, the way the military is now stepping in, and the police, what the police are doing and what the military is doing, is going to create more agitation and more frustration. Now, I watched NSAS transpire, and what I'm seeing today is very similar, where NSAS was peaceful, was meant to be peaceful, was peaceful. And then you saw very clearly people who had nothing to do with the planning of NSAS actually taking over the process of the protest. The same thing is happening now. And at the end of the day, what is worrisome is that lives are going to be lost, more anger is going to be created, and more frustration is going to be created on the part of the people who organized this protest to express the disappointment at the way governance has gone so far. I must add, though, that definitely nobody is saying that all the problems that we are experiencing today was created by President Tinubu, but there is also no running away from the reality that this is a government that started with Buhari, and things got worse from when Jonathan left office and have gone really, really bad. And I think the world economic situation has not helped the Nigerian government, and the corruption that is very clear. You mentioned in your news, you mentioned the issue of the oil theft and NNPC and things like that. That level of corruption, until we're able to address those level of corruption at that height, we're not going to be able to get anywhere if we don't truly address those issues. Talking about the protesters, talking about the cost of governance. The cost of governance is high. I don't believe that we need 40-something odd ministries. So when you're talking about the protesters saying that the president had not addressed the issues that they raised, you will have to agree to that. That if at least he had said, okay, since the ministries seem to be double in number, and two people are saying that we have 2 Ministry of Transport and things like that. The cost of governance has to come down. Nigerian government is indebted, and the cost of living is high. But we also don't want people just to take over the process, the rightful process of protesting from people who have decided that there is a reason for them to make their feelings known. I think that those are the things that the president must consider, and consider very very quickly. At the end of the day, we don't want to lose any more lives. And definitely
at this time, we truly appreciate your contributions to the topic. And that's Ankyo Briggs, the social commentator and convener, Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement. And now still on stories with the protest. The End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest continued in Kaduna on Monday as youth in large numbers took to the street to demand an end to bad governance and economic hardship. Although President Bola Tinubu addressed the nation on Sunday calling for patience and suspension of the nationwide protest, the youth say his broadcast did not address the core grievances of Nigerians, leading to the continuation of protests. Armed with flags of different colors and placards with various inscriptions, the protesters marched along the Constitution Road down to the stadium roundabout in the Kaduna State capital, while other groups were also seen protesting along the Ugwan Seriki Ali Akilu Road, demanding the removal of fuel subsidy and improved economic conditions.
We are expecting you to come out and bring down the price of petrol to 118 naira. You are speaking rubbish. We cannot accept it. We voted you. Government is created to make the people happy, not to make the life difficult for people. Tinubu's administration.
We are not happy. We can look at over 2 million Nigerian youths who are protesting in Kaduna. We are not happy. Our president is not doing well. The price of everything is very high. What we are protesting is let them bring the price of the commodity. Let it go down.
Yes, to Mr. President. Mr. President should consider the Nigerian peoples. We are in the critical condition. People are suffering. No food, fuel scarcity. Fuel have gone to the higher price. Food have gone to the higher price. President is making us to be angry. Don't allow President to make us angry.
Putin and Russian government to come to our aid. Since Tinubu cannot understand our language.
You're still on to the news in Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Still in Kaduna State, the State Security Council, under the leadership of Governor Uba Sani, following a review of the security situation in the state, notifies citizens of 24 hours curfew on Kaduna and Zaria metropolitan cities. The statement, which was signed by Samuel Aruwan, Overseeing Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, states that sufficient evidence show signs of hijack of the protest by hoodlums. Contents of President Bola Tinubu's nationwide broadcast on Sunday morning to Nigerians seems not to be the needed issues to stop the continuation of the nationwide protest in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Protesters under the umbrella of Coalition Against Hardship vow to continue the protest, but with a different approach of mobilization, sensitization and engagement with the people. Their coordinator, Professor Ademola Aremu, stressed that all the achievements enumerated in the broadcast does not have the potential to bring any significant relief and respite to the working masses. Also in his speech, the demand for immediate reversal of all anti-poor policies, especially the pump price to 197 naira per litre and end to importation of petroleum products. Also in their demand is a right for Nigerian police and the armed forces to form and belong to a trade union for adequate defense of their economic rights. Various speakers vowed that the protest will continue since government is not ready to answer to yearnings of Nigerians, noting that other method of protest will apply, not necessarily marching on the road every day.
Because it's just a mere justification for all the neoliberal policies responsible for the huge scale of failures and plans Nigerian people are going through at the present time. Aside this, we know that none of the planned protests and related international workers have the potential to bring any significant relief and respect to the masses of Nigerian people.
For instance, if there has not been any suffering, if there has not been any hardship, Nigerians wouldn't, call for a protest. So we listen to the president's speech yesterday. As far as we are concerned, none of our demands, was mentioned in the broadcast, and this further confirm our position. And I think it's on this basis that we feel that this gathering is still necessary today to continue to express our displeasure.
We are not suspending this protest. There's different form of protest. It is not only when you're on the street that you are protesting. Yes,
now we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned and fled the country following weeks of deadly demonstrations. The removal of Hasina on Monday followed weeks of deadly protests and appeared to have averted the threat of further bloodshed. The focus now moves to who will control the South Asian country. In an address to the nation, Army Chief General Waqar Uzzaman announced that an interim government will now run Bangladesh and called for calm. Hasina, who ruled the country for close to 2 decades, boarded the military helicopter on Monday, Annoyed told newsmen as huge crowds ignored the national curfew to storm her palace in Dhaka. Her resignation came after 300 people died in weeks of protest that the authorities sought to crush. A night of deadly violence on Sunday killed close to 100 and a curfew was called. On Monday, huge crowds stormed the Prime Minister's palace, preventing Hasina from delivering a speech. At least 20 more people were killed during violence in Dhaka as protesters stormed buildings, a police officer told newsmen. And that's it for now. Do join us at 9 p.m. for our primetime news. My name is Eribami Salako. See you then.